From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, security gang. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. It's Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. Counting down one more day. For those of us with kids, 4th of July also means fireworks. And fireworks are amazing. Kids love them. And my little one, counting down the days till he gets to see fireworks. He goes, Dad, we're going to go see fireworks. And I go, absolutely. We're going to go see tons of fireworks this weekend. So many fireworks this weekend. So tune in. Packed show on cybersecurity today. Let's get right into that. But before we do, I've got my double espresso this morning. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. CyberHubPodcast.com. Find all the latest there, including exclusive articles that only drop on our website every Saturday and Sunday morning. Don't miss those. All right. Let's get into my favorite punching bag, Ivanti, and my other favorite punching bag, the French. Both of them, both punching bags, are getting punched by the Chinese significantly. And now together, it's kind of like a double whammy. France's cybersecurity agency reporting yesterday that a range of government, utility, and private sector entities in the countries were impacted by a hacking campaign last year, leveraging the zero-day vulnerabilities in the Ivanti appliance. In France, the campaign targeted organizations with from governmental, telecommunications, media, finance, and transport sectors, according to the report from the ANSSI, the Agence Nationale de la Sécurité des Systèmes d'Information. My French is pretty shabby. Not too bad. Give me 2 weeks there, and I'll fluently speak French again. Exploiting bugs such as CVE 2024-819-0, 89063, and 90380. The intrusion said a term of art and threat intelligence used to group malicious activity for evidence-based analysis is being tracked under the code name Howkin by the ANSSI. Again, this is being pinned to China. We knew that China was taking advantage of it. That attribution was done on the U.S. side of it. Why anyone still has Ivanti after everything they've gone through is a glutton for punishment. I have a lot of friends in France. They're great people. But why do you glute for punishment? Rip, replace. It's much easier. Rip, replace. And I don't always say that, but with Ivanti, I've been saying it for years now. At some point, you just have to admit you have a dud in your environment. This is it. Rip, replace. Anything else? Go to Best Buy. I don't know if they have Best Buy in France. Do they have Best Buy in France? Go to Carrefour. They sell everything. Pick up a new firewall off the shelf. It'll probably do better than the Ivanti one you have in your environment. Guarantee it. Less exploitations, less rootkits, less malware, less Chinese cruising around in your network. The French agency is warning, though, that the threat remains active and will likely be operated again to target internet-facing equipment like endpoint managers or VPN appliances through worldwide and opportunistic vulnerability exploitation. Let me give you a big bravo for that one. Thank you for letting us know that there are threat actors out there looking to take advantage of exploits. Appreciate the wake-up call. Haven't really thought about it much in my career. However, ripping out and replacing really bad products in your environment would be one way to build resilience at your endpoint manager and VPN appliances, thus reducing those vulnerabilities. So that's my advice to the French. S'il vous plaît, and good luck. Qantas is now notifying customers that their information was stolen in a recent cyber attack targeting one of its contact centers. The country's Australia's flag carrier detected an intrusion on June 30th after attackers accessed a third-party platform used by the call center. While no Qantas systems were accessed, the airline operations have not been affected. The attackers managed to exfiltrate data from the compromised platform. There are 6 million customers that have service records on this platform. They're investigating the proportion of the data that's been stolen, though we expect it to be significant, the company announcing. So They're not saying frequent flyer accounts were compromised, nor have passwords, PIN numbers, or login details been accessed. So it's probably large in terms of scope. And Australia has a really weird view on cyber, just in general. To have like a cybersecurity minister that somehow thinks that companies that are victims of crimes are also the perpetrator of the crime because they have something that someone wants, and because they don't do if they don't do enough, and what's enough that's not defined, and so they get in trouble. And so Qantas Group CEO Vanessa Hudson saying they're sincerely apologize to their customers, and we recognize the uncertainty this will cause. So we'll see that again. Airlines been there. WestJet. Yesterday we talked about Hawaiian Airlines. I mean, this is increasing in scope. And again, if we look at the common supply chain, let's take away aviation, third party, help desk, customer support. The attackers have figured out the business process. Those people need a lot of customer information. Those people are also they're not paid much, right? They're not paid much. They're very easy to social engineer because their job is to do what? Help the customer, support the business. And so they take advantage of that. Now, what does that mean for us as practitioners? Hardening our supply chain, increasing tools in there to help these people augment the human desire to help with a technological backbone to support that activity, and recognize it and use it effectively within the environment. You do that, you're A-okay. And again, that's significant there for Qantas and the airline industry, who's now seeing this really come at them full steam. A cyber attack on Russian independent media is being linked to a U.S. sanctioned institute, according to researcher. The Russian hosting provider allegedly involved in a recent cyber attack against independent media organizations in the country is connected to a state-affiliated research center sanctioned by the United States. The hosting provider, Bitrica, generated 1/3 of the junk traffic that flooded websites of iStories and Verstica after they published an expose on child sex trafficking networks in Russia that allegedly involve oligarchs and other powerful officials. Isn't it amazing that every time we expose perversions, there's someone attacking the people exposing the perversions there? I mean, just mind-boggling how that always happens. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but man, you start connecting those dots. Britica was previously flagged as a high-risk hosting provider. It's associated with anonymization services, proxy abuse, and infrastructure that enables potentially malicious internet activity. The company's main owner, Valentina Elshina, is a software engineer at Russian State-linked Tech Center that's part of the Moscow Institute of Electronic Technology, also sanctioned by the U.S. since 2023, obviously. So you can kind of see that there as well. And now, you have that. at&t doing something to help tackle SIM swapping attacks. They're calling it wireless lock, and it's protecting customers by essentially enabling a feature in their account that, once it's enabled, will prevent anyone trying to fish their way to a SIM swap account or do anything like that from being able to do so. The new feature has been available for some customers for almost a year. It's now been rolled out to all at&t customers. SIM swaps, for those who don't know and are watching the show for the first time, it's when that's why I say don't use text MFA. So SIM swap account is, I'll call at&t, pretend to be you, say, hey, I got a new phone, I want to swap out my SIM. Give them the new SIM number. They swap it out because I can validate your information. And then I go in and I try to log into your bank account and get the text MFA, and now I can log into your account. Really simple, but I can do that anywhere. Company, all of that. That's why you want to do app-based multi-factor authentication and not text-based multi-factor authentication. Roger Grimes has a book, if you're a practitioner looking to implement MFA, called Hacking MFA. It's really, really worth it. Put it at your desk. Give it to the IT people. Let them actually read it, see it, understand it, so they know how to properly implement MFA. It's a great practical guide there. To enable this at&t feature, just log into your mobile app or website to lock their number, preventing anyone, including at&t employees, from preventing it unless it's first disabled by you in your at&t account. So good job to at&t helping address that, maybe Verizon, and T-Mobile will pick up on it and do the same. CISA is calling attention to 2 new vulnerabilities in the messaging application telemessage TM SGNL, urging organizations to patch them immediately. The application does allow users to archive messages sent using WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal. Telemessage landed in the spotlight after Trump's former national security advisor Mike Walls was seen using it on his phone. Tens of government employees were later found to have been using the application. Shortly after, Oregon-based communication company Smarsh, which owns the Israel-based telemessage, suspended all telemessage services after attackers demonstrated that lack of encryption allowed them to obtain the chat logs. The weakness is CVE 2025-47729er. It's got a CVSS score of 4.9er and was added to CISA's Kev catalog in May. Now they're adding 2 additional CVEs, 489er27 and 489er28, both being exploited by attackers. So you want to make sure you get those patched up as soon as humanly possible. Cybersecurity researchers discovering a critical security vulnerability in Anthropic's MCP Inspector project that could result in remote code execution and even allow an attacker to gain complete access to the host, according to Oligo Security Avi Lumilski, saying that this is one of the first critical RCEs in Anthropic's MCP ecosystem, exposing a new class of browser-based attacks against AI developer tools. The vulnerability is CVE 2025-49er59er6. It carries a CVSS score of 9.4 out of 10. The code execution on a developer's machines. Attackers can steal data, install backdoors, and move laterally across the network. It highlights serious risks for AI teams, open source projects, and enterprise adopters relying on MCP. MCP, introduced by Anthropic in November of last year, is an open protocol that standardizes the way LLMs integrate and share data with external data sources and tools. A lot of stuff around MCP. I was talking to an investor yesterday. It was saying like, yeah, we're seeing a lot of MCP. You called it. Next day, here it is. So we have it there as well for all of you there. So I mean, again, this stack is significant. According to Oligio, the impacted versions of MCP are below 0.14.1. They're the ones that are vulnerable to it. So you want to make sure you're on a later version of that as well. The Senate, in the big beautiful bill, stripping the limit of the 10-year federal ban and or state regulations for AI that faced bipartisan support. So the big beautiful bill triggered pushback that passed the House originally. People didn't notice it, that it was there, and then they noticed it after they voted for it, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, this violates everything we believe in. And so the Senate stripped it back, and now the bill has passed the Senate back to Congress, where they'll revote on it with that clause being there. So expect a lot of AI regulation come from the states. I know Texas, California, New York, Colorado all have laws pending on the books. This removal actually expedites their approval to get through the House and then implemented. Europe already has the EU AI Act. It's coming, folks. It's coming. In other regulatory news, FERC has withdrawn its notice of inquiry and terminated the related rulemaking proceedings in docket number RM 20-12-000. The notice of inquiry requested public comment on whether SIP reliability standards in place at the time sufficiently addressed cybersecurity risks related to data security, detection of anomalies, and events. The withdrawal is effective as of the end of this month. However, the commission also asked for input on potential risks of a coordinated cyber attack on geographically distributed targets and whether commission actions, including possible changes to the SIP reliability standards, would be warranted to address such threats. So for those who don't understand, the energy industry has FERC, which is kind of oversees NERC, and then NERC is the standard. It's kind of the commission of the standard, and then the SIP are essentially the protocols, the articles for that. I did a whole training on NERC SIP last September with SANS. Whoa, what a thing. And again, I had a great instructor with Jason Christopher, who's just so knowledgeable when it comes to NERC SIP. But this is significant because the FERC really tries to navigate the line, because that's how kind of new SIP standards are adopted is through FERC. and to get kind of the industry feedback and so forth and all of that. So FERC's kind of working on that, but ideally what you're seeing now is they're more looking at how the grid's interconnected and those risks over specifically, are we really doing enough there? And again, we'll see how that works out for them. We'll stay tuned on this one. But if you're in the NERC space, this is definitely something you want to pay attention to. And finally, the Senate actually did its job. National Cyber Director nominee Shane Cairncross has actually cleared the Government Affairs, the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee on Monday, and now he'll go to the Senate for a full vote to take his place, where he is expected to pass with flying colors. The nomination has been grilled with some controversy, but overall, very qualified individual. Yes, he's not a technical cyber guy, but this is a policy role, not a technical role. And so could a policy person have enough technical people around him in order to make good policy decisions? Yes. Inherently, yes. And so we'll take that. So he clears that. That's it for our show today. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up this week before we head out for the 4th of July holiday. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. Make sure to subscribe, follow, share, like, comment. Go check out our website, cyberhubpodcast.com. This podcast is available there in written format, not a transcript, but rather a good summary with an action list of items. So go check it out. Until then, have a great rest of your day, y'all. And most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.